What is up, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of the Nickel City Rush Hour. Tonight, you and the channel will help shape the direction of the show as it's open forum or open mic. If you're brave enough, Jake, the link to join the show is right there in the description of the show. So down below, we might see some people pop in on the green room, so keep an eye down there. Lots of good food in the green room, Jake. We serve nothing but the best. We got some barbell served up down there. We got some pizza from Baci. And who's your favorite pizza place out there that
I'm
you like?
a Picasso's guy. I feel like
Picasso.
consistency wise, they set the bar, So Baci though, very good, very good. You got to go to the original though. You got to do the original.
So hopefully we'll see some folks. Again, if nobody's brave enough to join, that's okay. You just tell us what you want to talk about in the chat. We do have a couple things we want to cover real quick. The first thing, Jake, is gonna hit you with a little trivia instead of the intro. I mean, this is something we've done in the past. It's a cool little card game. It's called Who's the Man in Buffalo. If you haven't picked one of these up, I highly suggest that you do that. So, Jake, let me start it off. Again, the way this works is they give you, what's they got? 5 clues. And with you, the expectation is to get it within 2 clues. Anything below is a big disappointment, but we'll go until you get this one right.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Starting off, the first question, the first clue. He's a 2-time Pro Bowl selection who was selected by the Buffalo Bills 50th anniversary team. So he was selected to the Buffalo Bills 50th anniversary team.
Okay. Awesome. So that's just the hint. All right. So
I know that I'm making this a difficult one.
2-time Pro Bowler selected the 50th anniversary team. Now, do I get unlimited guesses or do I wait? Like if I guess wrong, then I'm out, or do I?
I'm not going to ding you for that. You want to throw out a couple guesses and say, you know what, I'll move on. But I mean, obviously you can't just rattle off a bunch of names and finally get to it. So I'll give you like two guesses per clue.
That sounds good. Let's see.
And don't be Googling the
no,
50th,
listen. Hey, here's my phone. Okay, I'm going to put it over here. I'm putting it way in front of me, way away. All right. 2-time Pro Bowler, 50th anniversary team. Well,
yes,
I think Takeo Spikes was a 2-time Pro Bowler with us. I don't know if he would have made the 50th anniversary team because he didn't play long enough. Let's say Daryl Taylor.
Oh, you talk about Takeo and then you go Daryl Taylor. Daryl Taylor is incorrect.
Okay. All right, and I'm guessing Takeo Spikes is probably wrong as well.
That is incorrect. That's right.
I don't know what made me go there. I know Takeo was a 2-time Pro Bowler with us, but to make the 50th anniversary team, probably not.
Yeah, it didn't play with us long enough.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yep.
The only member of the NFL's 2000s All-Decade team to never play in a playoff game.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to guess Eric Moulds.
It's a great guess.
No, he did play in a playoff game.
That's
wrong.
That's
wrong because he did play in the 90s.
Incorrect.
And it's 2-time Pro Bowler.
By the way, make sure you're on the private comments. I don't want you to see anybody in the channel helping you out here.
Eric Moulds did play in a playoff game. I corrected myself right away because I'm like, wait a minute. Nope, he was in the 90s. No, can't have it.
So I'll repeat the clue. The only member of the NFL's 2000s All-Decade team to never play in a playoff game. And the first clue was what?
It's got to be Brian Moorman.
Dude, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Brian Moorman. What put you onto that?
Well, I know that he's on the All-Decade team. So I didn't hear the All-Decade team at first. I'm still focusing in on that 2-time Pro Bowler. And I'm like, oh,
got it.
And I think Eric Moulds went more than twice, too. So that wouldn't have added up. And obviously played in the playoff game. But Brian Moorman didn't play in a playoff game and was arguably a best player during the drought years. So our punter, how about it? Gotta love it. And if it wasn't for Shane Leckler, Mike, if it wasn't for Shane Leckler on the Raiders, he would have had a hell of a lot more Pro Bowl selections. I guarantee you that.
So, the other clues, just to close it out here. First 4-time All-American football player in Pittsburgh State University history. Retired with 2 career touchdown passes. Pretty crazy for a punter. Both caught by defensive end Ryan Denny. How about that, man?
I love that. That's a good trivia question.
Right. And then the final clue was set a Bills record for longest punt when he launched an 84-yarder in 2002. I don't know if that still stands. This is a little old, but maybe it does.
Man, and it's crazy because right now, out of all the positions on our team, I would say amongst the question marks, really, because the Bills just went out and signed Matt Hawk. We still have Slippery Sam Martin, but he kind of a down year. And I don't know really what's going to happen there. I think there's going to be a little bit of a competition. Boy, what I would do to get Brian Moorman back. Crazy.
I know. So once again, great game for the family. Great game for, when you get together with your friends and you want to see who knows the most trivia. Jake's going to win. Don't invite him to that game, but anyone else, it's a blast.
That was good. I like that one.
And there's some
really
difficult ones. I thought this one would be because it really didn't throw out like when he was drafted or, when he retired or who he played for, because sometimes these guys here play for multiple teams.
What were the other hints for that, Mike?
It was, let's see here. Let me go back to it real quick.
I just want to see like what would have tipped me off if I didn't get this one.
First 4-time All-American football player in Pittsburgh State University history.
The Pittsburgh State would have gotten it.
Would have got you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. So thank you, man. That was fun. Let's
trivia to spin off of that real quick. Yeah. There are 2 players that played recently for the Buffalo Bills from Pittsburgh State. Brian Moorman is one of them. Can you name the other guy? He played with us within the last 5 seasons.
Last 5 seasons from
had a 1,000-yard year for us. I'm not going to say whether he was a receiver or running back, but
in the last 5 years.
In the last 5 years,
I don't think it was a receiver. No running back for sure. Could have been a quarterback. So maybe I have to go back. I'm going back to wide receiver here. I'm going to say somebody like you said 5 years, maybe John Brown.
John Brown is correct.
Yes.
Third round pick out of Pittsburgh State.
Now, how did I get back there? I remember like a few years back when Josh was just starting, John Brown was this guy. He had a fantastic year with Josh. So, hey, got that one. I'm proud of myself.
That's a good one. You did really good on that, Mike. I love it. I love you processing it. You did a hell of a job there. Yeah. Great work.
All right, cool. Well, we got some news. And again, folks, the link to join the show is in the description of the show. So this whole show is going to be about what you guys want to talk about. We do want to cover just a couple more things, and then we'll get into it. So start putting those topics that you want to talk about in the channel. The first thing.
How about Weston too, real quick, Mike?
Yeah.
Brian Moorman, about 20 minutes north?
Oh, nice.
Pretty cool. That's awesome. He's a great guy. By the way, the founder of the Punt Foundation, which we do some work with. So full circle moment. We got to get him on the pod. Plain and simple.
Yeah, that would be awesome. All right. So we had a signing, right? We signed an offensive tackle, Lael, what's his name here? Collins, to a 1-year deal. What can you tell us about this gentleman? And do you have any details on the contract at all?
So I know that the contract is an incentive-based contract worth up to $6.25 million. It's a 1-year deal. I don't know what the base salary is. I haven't seen the specs released on that, and it's not even on Spot Track just yet. It just says that he signed a 1-year deal, so I don't even know what the number is. I'm sure we'll find out about that in the coming days here, but I like this move. He was injured a little bit towards the end of the 2022 season with the Bengals, but he did start 15 games for them in 2022. And then he was released at the beginning, I think it was beginning of the year, this past season in September, and wound up signing with Dallas on their practice squad in December. But he's had a full year of rest, basically. This is a really nice depth piece to me. I can also see him potentially being a guy that could be a swing tackle or even compete for that left guard position with David Edwards. I think the biggest exclamation point is the fact that he hasn't played football in a year now. So while, originally I was all fired up about the signing, but I totally forgot he missed all of last season basically. So, but when you're getting up there in age a little bit too, you could basically just mark that as like an injury, a full injured season. And I think that's good to have that year of rest. So while he didn't have like an ACL or anything like that last year, he was able to still recover from his previous injury. And hopefully right now he's fully healthy. So I'm excited about it. I think, again, it's a good depth move. I think he'll be a nice backup to Spencer Brown, or there is a chance he could compete for that guard position with David Edwards. Just give him a little bit more, little more competition there. But he did play left guard, by the way, in Dallas early on, his rookie year into like his third year almost, and then he switched to right tackle.
All right. So you may have said this again when you're talking, Jake. I'm trying to make sure everything's working. So sometimes I may not heard what you just said, but I did have some data on him as well. Yeah, he was a UFA for Dallas in 2015. Played with Dallas up until 2021. 2022, he went to Cincinnati, and I'm going to use I'm going to give you some numbers from PFF. So it looks like he also missed his 2020 season. I don't know what happened there, but they don't have any numbers for him 2019 to 2021. So that's interesting. But he did a great job in 2019. He played over 1,000 snaps. Even PFF gave him a offensive rating of 86.4. Jake, it's pretty damn good. Then in 2021, he was given a PFF rating of 82. He played 671 snaps that season. 2022 played 951 snaps for Cincy. Like you said, got hurt at the end of the year, but he really struggled there. I mean, he had only a 57.9 PFF grade. So not a really good year. Gave up 34 pressures in 2022, 17 in 21, 26 in 19, 46 and 18. So it is interesting because you said he missed 2023, and that's correct. I don't see any numbers there. But what happened in 2020? Was he also out with a big injury, or?
I don't think so. I'm wondering if PFF just doesn't have data prior to that, because I don't think he had missed 2020.
They have 15, 16, 17, 18,
That's
19.
weird.
They don't have 20. So interesting.
Oh yeah, no, actually, it did look like it looks like he did miss 2020. So yeah, that's how about that? Yeah.
I like how Trey comes in here and everyone liked the video, you dorks.
I love that, Trey.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we always forget to say that. Yeah, if you would, we greatly appreciate it if you like, comment, and drop a nickel on that subscribe button if you already haven't. So appreciate you guys. So let's see here. Big L's out there joining us tonight. I was getting a little jealous. I saw Big L giving a lot of attention to the Ruthless show last night. I'm like, Big L, he rarely joins us, Jake, these days, and he'll come in.
No, he's always watching.
He'll come in with a chat, and then he's gone, and then it's like, where'd he go? Where'd Big L go? Must have been to him.
He's a big multitasker, so he's watching TV and our show at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm going to put that on the list, the docket here, Big L. We'll talk about that OBJ rumor that went around. I have one other little topic before that, and let me put that on the docket right here, OBJ. So, and again, everyone that's out there, Weston, Battlehawk, Trek Reviewer, and Trey Williams, we greatly appreciate you. So thanks for joining us. And again, this show is for you guys. I mean, you come up with the topics. I would love for one of you to be brave enough and join. Look, the phone works. You don't even have to show your face. Turn your camera off as long as your microphone works.
That's right.
Good. So the other news that came out, and this is somebody that I know, Trek Reviewer, I know us. We've been big on drafting this person. T'Vondre Sweat. By the way, Weston, thank you. If you haven't joined our Discord, get into our Discord. That link is also in the description. We got folks that are giving us breaking news all the time. And T'Vondre Sweat was arrested this morning for DWI charge. And Jake, why are these guys, why are these youngsters making these mistakes? There's Uber, there's Lyft, there's your friends. Why would you ever go behind the wheel under the influence, Jake? I just don't get it, and potentially screw up your career. Now, I mean, you got to think this is going to hurt his draft stock a little bit. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, it's going to definitely hurt his draft stock. As a guy that was already sort of teetering as whether he'd be a day 2 pick or like a late day 1 pick. Now you could definitely count out a day 1 pick. Day 2, maybe, I mean, you might even count that out as well. I've seen it happen in the past where a guy is projected, late first round. He doesn't end up going to the 4th round because of off the field issues. And with this happening so recently, like that hurts, man. And that's just a boneheaded move. And I think you could probably cross him off the Bills list because they don't like guys like that.
Yeah, no, I would be like, look, if you can't keep it together before the draft, I mean,
not even a month away.
I mean, your agent, your family saying, hey, keep it, keep it together. But yeah, that's a big red flag to me. I mean, if that happens, and with all the ways that you can get a ride home these days, it's
Yep.
inexcusable to me. Absolutely inexcusable. So, track reviewer, I don't think you'll be seeing him. I mean, unless he drops it way down, uh, fourth rounder, fifth rounder, then I think the Bills will take him. You know, somebody's going to take him, right? What's Trey saying? Um, he's going to say Howie Roseman is going to draft Sweat in the fifth round and get to an NFC
I hope not,
championship.
man. I hope not. Yeah. Would not like that.
Weston thinking he's not dropped because he was borderline second round. First round is kind of a reach, I thought, but there was talk of him going in the first round. But Weston, you're not having him drop too much. And again, it would concern me as a GM picking somebody up. But I mean, the talent's there. He'd be great addition to any interior line, but it would worry me the heck out of me if he can't keep it together.
It's crazy because I feel like if it was, a year ago or a couple months ago, even, it's like, all right, maybe that's a little more forgivable. But the fact is, we're like 18 days away from the NFL draft here, right? And this is a guy that has first round talent. So for him to basically show that maybe he's not so serious about it because he's making dumb decisions off the field. Listen, everyone makes mistakes.
Yep.
It does happen. And unfortunately, this is a really bad mistake where it's going to impact your livelihood. And thank God nothing worse happened. And it was just him getting arrested. I sound like a dad lecturing my kid right now, but it's the truth. And I'll admit, listen, there have been times where, it's a little sketchy driving. And I'll admit, I'll put my hand up. I have done it a couple times and I'm not proud of it whatsoever. I like to think I've learned my lesson. I will always Uber now. Like, I'll pay the extra 30, 40 bucks, and I'll get that ride home now. And luckily I haven't, ever been arrested or anything like that. So that's good.
Jake putting it out there. I mean,
listen, no, listen, I'm going to be real with you.
We're going to have to go back and edit that portion out because, Buffalo police, all of a sudden, are going to show up at your door tomorrow.
I'm not saying I was out of my mind, but there's been a couple times where it's like, hey, you have a few drinks, and it's like, all right, maybe I shouldn't have drove, right? So
yeah, no, a lot
happens.
of people, and a lot of people, I mean, they just think they're okay, right? I'm okay. I mean, but obviously he got pulled over, so he was driving crazy somehow, some way.
Right.
And again, like you said, just thank God that nobody was injured or anything worse happened than that. And because that's a serious thing to commit. Again, just no excuse for it. Check what you're saying. You still take Sweat at 30. I don't think so, man. I wouldn't.
I doubt it. Yeah, not with the Bills, especially with how much they preach culture and character. There's no way they're doing that. So you could want it, Trek Reviewer, but it ain't happening. I can tell you that for free.
Yeah, totally agree with you here. Time for UFL football, Battlehawk. If you're staring at tens of millions of dollars, don't get near a driver's seat. Like his agent, his family, his coaches, his friends. You have all those people you could call. And they all been telling them, they tell all these guys, look, don't ruin your future by doing something so stupid. My goodness, it could have been so much worse. Could be talking about him never playing, right? So crazy stuff. I'm gonna put my hand up. Battlehawk, no, I did not. I'm so sorry. Just so much going on. Trust me, I'm gonna watch it. Is there a way to rewatch any of the games? Like we have the NFL where I can watch the abbreviated version of the game. Where can I go?
I don't know, actually, to be honest with you. You might be able to watch it via the app because I know there's a UFL app. But I don't know if that gives you the ability to rewatch games. I'm sure it just has highlights on there. But it was a hell of a weekend for it. How about those St. Louis Battlehawks, by the way? Huge victory last night. Marcel Aitman went off, 4 catches for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, former Buffalo Bill. And then I think the attendance was released for that too, by the way. And for St. Louis, it was like above 40,000 people. The official numbers right here, 40,317 people attended that game. So attendance is doing great as expected in St. Louis. They already set the record last year. They're just resetting records as we go. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot to you, but here's the other numbers. For the Memphis Showboats, they had 8,791 people in attendance. For the Michigan Panthers, it was 7,475 people. And for the DC Defenders, it was 15,052 people. They had 40,317. So the St. Louis Battlehawks, their fan base is passionate, and they really miss football there in St. Louis when the Rams were stripped away from them. I feel like they were a little upset about that, and they're now they finally got a team to support, so that's great.
Did Marcus Stevenson have another good weekend? I know Battlehawk was talking him up
I
last
don't
week.
know, actually. I didn't see much on him. I do know that Marcel Aitman is he's just an absolute dog in this league. So he's been killing it. Even the week 1, he showed some strong hands. I think he had 2 touchdowns in week 1 too. So good thing to see.
Interesting. All right, well, let's go back to your dad, and then yes, Trey, we'll talk about this. Trey says, "Hey, can we discuss the best way to draft wide receivers in this draft to maximize Josh's window? Keeping in mind we're a bit of a rebound, and draft picks are at a premium." So yeah, we'll definitely go right there after Big L's question. OBJ. Now, I messaged Keith in the Discord yesterday that the Dolphins had put an offer out to OBJ, but there were rumors that the Bills were looking at him as well, which is surprising to me. I don't know if you've heard any more. I don't know if he's accepted anything, but I do know the Dolphins put an offer out. What's your thoughts though? If would you want OBJ on this team?
No, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. I don't know what that contract looks like, but last year he made $16 million and fleeced the Ravens in that contract. And while he still had some moments of him shining, I mean, this is a 31-year-old receiver who had 500 plus yards receiving for the Ravens last year. And to me, you just don't pay a guy that's going to put up those numbers when Khalil Shakir can do the same damn thing at a much cheaper price. So again, I think you stay away from this one. I know OBJ has had a hell of a history. When he came into the league, he lit the league on fire. And then he had a couple of years where he sort of fell off with injuries and whatnot. And last year it showed, he showed a little bit that he still had some left in the tank. But I mean, we just got rid of a 31-year-old receiver. We have a young core right now. It doesn't make sense to bring a guy like that into me.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. I heard that news and I'm like, come on, because a lot of guys in our group chats, they kind of prank us once in a while. I'm like, and they just want to throw something out there to get our reaction.
Yeah.
But no, I like the guys we have, and like you said, we can get somebody in the draft. I mean, I don't want. There's the only thing OBJ. Actually, no, there's nothing I think OBJ could bring to this team. You can say his leadership is whatever, but he's never been known as that type of guy, really. So, no for me. Let's go to Trey Williams bringing this up, and let's get into this again because this is obviously, where we're going in the first round, or at least where we're going to try to go. Never know it being. I would not be surprised. Like we're all watching this live, and all of a sudden, pick number 28 comes in, and we've moved down the board. But I really think we're moving up. I think there's a big play that Bean's going to be making. But Jake, why don't you start it off? Why don't you talk about Trey's question here?
Or this is my
suggestion.
This is my suggestion for Brandon Bean. Either you trade up and go get Brian Thomas. I've done the mock drafts where I've traded up and I've gotten Roma Duns or Malik Neighbors. To me, I just feel like that's not super realistic. I don't think teams in the top 10 are going to want to pass up on a generational talent like that. So instead, you go get another guy like Brian Thomas, who is just barely out of that tier. And I still think he belongs in that tier. Like, he's a really, really good football player, very polished, really good player. I think he's AJ Green 2.0. So I think you move up and grab him, or you either stay at 28. So you grab up and go get him, or you stay at 28 and you draft my boy, Xavier Leggett. Those are my two choices right there, Mike. I'm not backing off.
I know you've been saying that, man, since we started talking draft. And I do like what Trey says. With Bean's limited cap, I'd rather defensive depth. And I'm down for that. I wouldn't be mad at that. I would not be mad because the wide receiver class is so deep, Jake. We could stay at 28 and get a defensive guy, maybe move up a couple spots if one of those, really elite defensive tackles are there. But second round, we can make a move and we can go up the board and get some of these guys one of the guys you mentioned, Xavier Leggett. Where's he going? Where's it looking right now in mocks that you're seeing?
I've seen him go late first round all the way to late second round. So as of recent, it's kind of averaged out where he's gone early second. But to me, if that's your guy, and you go take him. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if he puts up 1,000 yards, you're not going to be thinking about his draft position.
I heard that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Lad McConkey's been the Bills have talked to him a couple times
Yeah.
now?
Yep, they have. Yeah. And I really like Lad McConkey's tape. I think he's a really, really good player. He runs really good routes. He has great hands. He tested super well at the combine. But my personal preference is we go with a guy that's a little bit bigger and a little more explosive. The eye candy. That's who I want. So I'm going Xavier Leggett if it's between the two of them.
Yeah. I'm buying into what you're selling this time, Jake. Actually, I bought into what you're selling many times. A couple times it's been like I wanted a refund, but last year you talked about your guy Zay Flowers, and
Yep.
you wanted him badly, and look what happens. He goes to Baltimore, has a really good season. Yes, he fumbles going into the end zone, which could have turned that game around. But other than that, and he had a fantastic year, and he was everything that you sold me on. So I'm believing you with this Xavier Leggett call that you're making. I like his size.
If there's one position you trust me on, it's receiver.
Yes, yes. I mean, he's
Corner,
got
maybe not
size.
so much.
He's got speed. I like everything that I'm seeing about him. But there's so many others. I mean, we've only been talking about, let's say we go defensive tackle in the first round, right? And there's just so much depth, but go beyond the top 3 or 4 guys out there, including Leggett that you've been mentioning. There's at least 15 receivers that you could take that probably would bring you good value year one.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about some of those other guys? Because we just keep talking about those top 3 or 4 or 5, but there's ones beyond that too, right?
Yeah, I love what Trey says here. Yeah, he's a prototypical X body. And Javon Baker, second to third round, that's another guy too. You can even double dip if you really want to. Javon Baker doesn't have the same like physical specimen that Xavier Leggett possesses, I guess, but Javon Baker is like Brandon Lloyd to me. Like this dude's going to go up and make those acrobatic catches, has incredible hands, really showed out at the Senior Bowl. And he's been climbing up some draft boards as well. But yeah, I think rounds 2 to 3, that's about where he's graded at right now. And I would love that too. I don't mind that whatsoever. There's another guy, Ricky Pearsall out of Florida, who I really like too. Great route runner. And that's like your typical, like, works in space well, a little bit bigger version, I would say, of like a Cole Beasley. And we know how well he did with Josh here in Buffalo. So to me, like Ricky Pearsall, he has the explosiveness and he works really, really well in space. He is a magician working in space. So that's another guy maybe in the second or third that you target. I don't think he'll be available in the third. He definitely will be available in the second. At pick 60, maybe not, but you could maybe even double dip, Trey. So you can go with Xavier Leggett in the first with, a less developed guy, and then go get Ricky Pearsall in the second. Wouldn't mind that whatsoever.
Yeah. I was listening to Steve Smith's podcast. I don't know who he does it with, but he does it with another gentleman. And the gentleman asked Steve, what's the difference between when you did the combine and today's combine? And he said that there's too much emphasis on speed at the combine these days. Everyone's like working on getting their best score. And it's so true. But Steve's like, you got to look at those other things. He said there were folks like probably Troy Franklin. I think he did mention Troy Franklin in particular, where the route running wasn't crisp. Like he was like, you've known you're going to go to this combine and you're not working on those other areas and you're not ready for that at the combine and you're just focusing on the speed. That was a big deal to him. And some of these receivers, I can't remember who, I'm not going to throw out some names, but there were some receivers who disappointed and fell, at least on his board, because of what he saw. And I know you were saying something about Troy Franklin as well, right? Was it what was the event they were doing at the combine that you
He
weren't
tested
happy?
pretty well. He just didn't really do so well, like in the gauntlet drill and the actual field position drills. So he didn't really impress to me. He did do a little bit better at the Oregon Pro Day. So I think he's still worth an early second to me if he's on the board, if the Bills do trade up. I know they met with him. I think they had a private workout with him as well. And he's got decent size. He's like 6'3", but he's a rail. I mean, he's got to put on some weight. When you look at the frame, definitely put on a little bit of weight.
Yep, I'm still a fan of Brandon Rice, Johnny Wilson, another one of those guys.
And those are guys in the third, maybe fourth round that you can grab too, Trek Reviewer. So I like that a lot. I know you've been a Johnny Wilson guy since day one, so I love you. Continue bringing him up, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Battlehawk asking how tall he'll get. I think it was 6'2" or 6'1". What is it?
6'1". Yeah. So you'll see his roster picture on South Carolina's site. It'll list him as 6'3". He actually measured in at 6'1", but he's like 6'1", 223, and plays like he's 6'5", like he has that athletic ability to do so. You'll see him go up and get a ball. I think he had a 40-inch vertical or something like that too. So just a freak of nature.
Yeah, then we got Weston talking about Xavier Worthy. Runs a 4.2, but he's 168, and he's going to get knocked around by NFL defensive backs. Yeah, that's another thing Steve Smith and the gentleman were talking about, is that if you look, and they didn't go back in history and name some of these guys, but a lot of times these top runners don't equate to being the best receivers in the NFL, right? And they went back to the Jerry Rice comparison, where Jerry, I don't know what Jerry officially ran, but they were saying he ran like a 4.6 or something like that. And again, they didn't have all the metrics or all the ways to measure back then. So I'm thinking they got that wrong, because when Jerry Rice was game time speed was incredible. Again, one of those guys you were like, can we not double? Can we not triple this guy and stop him? I was like, and that's how he was. Like, you could not shut him down. Sort of like what you see with Kelsey these days. But so the speed, he said, is just the emphasis, and it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't.
Route running. That's one thing that Jerry Rice had that a lot of other receivers in the league at the same time as him did not. Like, he was so good at running. Like, you combine that with his game speed, his route running ability was the best. There's no one better.
Who do you think of these receivers we've been talking about, who has that route running ability?
In the first round, if you're looking at that purely, I mean, you look at the top guys, of course, Malik Neighbors, Roma Duns, Marvin Harrison Jr. But I like Brian Thomas a lot. He's very fluid with his route running ability. His in and out of his breaks, his cuts, they're really, really impressive to me. And for a guy to be that size, to be able to move so smoothly, really, really impressive. And that's why I feel like he's worth trading up. But another guy, I see it in the comments already, Ladd McConkey. I mean, talk about route running ability. He's probably the best route runner, maybe even in this class.
That's what I've heard about him. And I was like, why is everyone so high on this guy? But he's 5'11", a little bit under what I want, but he's fast, runs in the 4.3s. I think the upper 4.3s, right? And then he's known as a very good route runner. So
here's my comp for Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
I know on NFL Network they had Brandon Stokely. I'm going to compare him to another former Colt, a guy that was drafted right at the end of the first round by the Colts in 2007, Anthony Gonzalez. So he came out of Ohio State, very similar size, the way that they tested everything. Really, really good route runner, projected as either a slot or an outside guy, can play in and out. And kind of underwhelmed in the league a little bit. I think his best year was maybe 600 something yards. And after that, after about 5 seasons, he was done. So, I don't know if that's going to happen with Ladd McConkey. I'm just saying, be wary of it, because you will see these guys that, are kind of in that boat, that have these incredible combine numbers and have everything on tape, right? But they don't end up being that guy that's your 1,400, 1,500 yard receiver.
John Robert saying Devontae Walker was also interviewed.
Yep, I did see that. Yeah, and he made a good point too, by the way. So Troy Franklin did have the flu at the combine. So I guess if you want to take anything away from that.
Yeah, I know the Bills have talked to him, so there's another one. But I don't think you're taking Troy Franklin in the first round. I don't think so, right?
No, I don't think so either.
So good stuff there. Let's see. Chiefs did a top 30 visit with J.M. McKillen at wide receiver. He's flying on the radar also.
It's a good name. Yeah, that's a guy I've seen anywhere between like 50 all the way down to like really early second round. So that's an interesting name out of Washington.
Yeah, John, I saw that. That's what I was saying, lad. I've been telling Jake, I want everyone over 6 feet. Nobody under. Don't get me wrong. There are folks, obviously, that have succeeded greatly in the NFL under 6 feet, but and we've gotten a little bigger with some of the guys that we've brought in. Justin Shorter, although somebody, the Justin Shorter short that we had out there.
Yeah.
So somebody placed a comment today, and they said on that short, it says, "Yeah, he's muscular, but I've seen him play. He's slower, game speed slow, route running's not great, and he doesn't think he'll make the team this year.
Wow, interesting.
So that's an interesting comment from somebody I've never met, but the fact that he saw him play and had that comment is something there.
A little concerning. I don't like hearing stuff like that.
Yeah, Adonai Mitchell. You mentioned him, right?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on him?
I'm going to say this right now. If it's between him or Xavier Leggett, I think I'm going Xavier Leggett. I think he just offers a little bit more. And listen, I think had Xavier Leggett had like 3 total seasons in college where he put up the same type of numbers as he did this past year, he would be a top 15 pick. But the reality is he only had 1 really good season. Prior to this, he was mainly used as a return man. So the fact of the matter is he hasn't played a ton of college football as the starting X receiver. So, yeah, it's I think that's why he isn't, you'll see him on a lot of mock drafts. That's why he isn't always in the first round on those. But if it's between him or Adonai Mitchell, I think consistent wise, Adonai Mitchell's been a little hit or miss on that too. This is a guy that kind of takes plays off. I can't speak right now. Takes plays off at times.
Yeah.
So I'm staying away from him. I'm actually going to stay away from him. Now, I don't think he's bad or anything like that, but when you look at him compared to some of the other dudes, I just feel like he might be a little overrated in this class.
Gotcha. Here's a hot take from Armchair Scouting Corner. Haven't seen you before. Thanks for joining the channel. Ladd's college production is so freaking low. For a team as good as Georgia, he did almost nothing for 3 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed, though, on that Georgia team. And honestly, the quarterback play, it's been a little inconsistent here and there. I mean, good quarterback play for the most part, but there are those moments where it drops off a little bit. So I'll give him a pass on that.
Yep. Weston saying AD Mitchell also takes plays off, which is what you don't want in your offense. John Roberts saying I agree with that. And Trek Revere saying, what's Trek Revere saying? Okay.
James Williams. Yeah.
I love this pick. So I talked to Jake early on about James Williams. Just he's a safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's 6'3", 231, a little bit slow, 4.6. But this is a guy, he really he could be bigger than our linebacker. He's bigger than Terrell Bernard. How crazy is that, Jake? So I like this, especially if you get him in a late round, which I think he's projected for safety. I've seen 5th or 6th round, but I wouldn't mind him, Track Reviewer, just because of that. You want to have your safety run support. This is your guy right here. I would just be concerned about him being able to cover the deep routes and stuff like that. But what's your thoughts here? You remember me telling you about this gentleman?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He didn't test as well as a lot of people thought he would at the combine, but he's a much bigger player than a Cam Kinchins. So he's going to be like a Thomas Davis convert. So safety in college converts to linebacker in the NFL. And, he does have familiarity with Jamil Adai. So he played underneath him at Miami. And you can maybe go grab him in the 4th or 5th round if he's available there, Mike. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever.
Yeah, I would.
But as a backup for Taron Johnson, I don't know. I don't know if he will. I mean, he could probably play in the nickel at times and cover tight ends and whatnot, but I don't think I see him playing there in the NFL. I think I see him more as like a linebacker.
He could be that Saran Neal guy, right? You used to love
definitely.
Saran Neal being put on Kelsey. They tried it once before. It seemed to work, but they went away from it. But this is a guy that you could have cover those big tight ends. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't think I don't know. It would depend. Taron Johnson's got a big paycheck, so I don't think a good backup. And again, he could also play safety as well, backup there, depth piece. We go back to let's see here, Armchair Scouting Corner, the Mitchell slander, and then I'm not sure what
he didn't like that very much. Did he?
Didn't like that one, huh? And then he said, "Yeah, but Travis Kelce also didn't have high production in college, and look at him now." What does this mean here? A pass on 400 yards.
So I said I give him a pass because of inconsistent quarterback play. So this past year, he did have a back and ankle injury. So that's what limited him with the numbers this year. Now, previous years to that, I guess you can't. You can't give him a pass. I appreciate you calling a spade a spade there. So, I will say this though. I think when you look at, I guess this is more of a potential pick, and based on how he tested and how well he does move, you can maybe take a flyer on him for that reason alone. Then he also offers return value too, so there is that.
Yeah. And then, so AD Mitchell also has bad change of direction. So a lot of heated debate going on about AD Mitchell.
Yeah, there was a good stat. Actually, I want to pull this up. I don't know if I can even go back to it. It was so long ago, but that Gamble. Who is Gamble, by the way, Mike, in our Discord? Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Gamble is awesome. And if you
He
are
is.
watching out there, please show yourself because you've been very informative and you've been great on this.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he posted a thing about the average yards, average depth of target. That's what it was. And then he talked about also the average yards after the catch. And Adonai Mitchell was right towards the bottom of that. Now, to his credit, too, he did catch a lot of touchdown passes. And, there wasn't a whole lot of room to make a play after, he caught passes. So I don't hate Adonai Mitchell.
There he is.
Trey,
Trey
thank you.
Williams. All right. Now we know.
What was that? Yeah, you got to pull that up again for me because I'm forgetting now. I'm drawing a blank on what that was. But average depth of target, was it? Or was it average yards after the catch? Something like that. But basically, we kind of gave him a pass on that. I know I've been saying that a lot, gave him a pass on it, but because he was right at the bottom of that list. But caught a lot of deep balls. They didn't count screen plays. So there's a lot involved with all that.
At least you haven't dropped the it's not on my bingo card tonight.
I've been saying that one a lot too. Yeah.
It's funny. I heard that on my way to work. I was talking to a coworker, and she's like, she dropped that. I'm like, where did that come from? Why are you saying this all of a sudden?
Maybe
My
she's listening
co-host
to our
does
show.
this. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So, John Robert, Brandon Bean always surprises me. He surprises all of us. We think he's locked in as a wide receiver and in round one, but you never know. And I would not be surprised if we're all surprised about what he does. I just think, Jay, with the first pick, if it's anything outside of receiver, defensive tackle, or edge, you got to at least narrow it down to that, right?
I'm thinking receiver or bust. Honestly,
Okay.
like I don't even want to go there.
I'm okay with the other two, but I'm just saying those three.
Yeah, I mean, I understand
position
it.
groups where we
Yeah.
need the most help, and we're so old on the interior defensive line.
True.
Other than Ed Oliver, we've got to get somebody who's going to be able to stick around for a few years and have that chemistry with Ed. So I'm okay. Edge as well. We've had no pressure off the edge for a while, so I'm okay. I'll tell you what, Jake. You've been trying to push him down the board a little bit, but Chop Robinson, I wouldn't mind him either. I really wouldn't.
Yeah, I like Chris Braswell better than Chop Robinson, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I also like Braylon Trice, I think, a little bit more than Chop Robinson.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, when you comp him to Micah Parsons,
I know. It's crazy. It's hard to avoid. He's a freak athlete.
It is hard to avoid.
He can be really good at the next level, but talk about production. Like, he didn't really put up great numbers in college either, but kind of a limited survey to look at.
Yeah, college production doesn't necessarily mean, absolutely doesn't mean that you're going to be able to produce in the NFL. How many times have we seen bust, right? He's a raw talent.
I think
we've seen it.
I think armchair scouting corner did not like our points made here. So armchair, listen, we want you still to come back. We love the fact that you're bringing up the opposition points.
Yep.
So we welcome that. We love that. So keep it up, man.
Yeah. And join us. Jump on the show, man. I mean,
Absolutely.
The link is out there. I haven't seen anyone jump in the green room, get some free food at the very least. John Robert, I have not heard if Mitchell's been interviewed. Have you heard anything?
I haven't seen anything about it. No.
Somebody asked you if you were out in the sun earlier on. I think that was Battlehawk. He said Battlehawk. Yeah, he's a little red there as well.
Super red. Yeah, I was out all day today. I was doing some landscaping. I feel like I can't even speak properly. I'm so tired. My whole body is sore. Like, I never used to get this sore, Mike. What the heck's going on here? Old age? Crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry to inform you. The older you get, my friend. Yes, it starts to go downhill.
Man. Yeah, terrible.
There's hope though. I see a lot of these older guys doing these crazy workouts, and I'm like, damn, I gotta
get back in the lab.
I
Yeah.
to step my game up. Let's see here. I think those 3 Washington receivers are going to do well in the NFL. Who are those 3 Washington receivers that he's talking about?
Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk, and Roma Duns, of course, the
Okay,
best of the
Roma.
3.
Right,
Yeah.
right. All right.
Hey, Anthony's joining. It looks like here.
Yeah, Anthony's. Is he?
Yeah.
Where did you say that? Oh, he's in the green room. All right. Let's see here. We'll go to Anthony here shortly. Anthony, have your choice of the wings there. We got some honey butter barbecue from Barbill. I brought in some traditional ones from 9/11, so check those out as well. Let's see. Drink some Gatorade. Either way, I think he will. I think let's see, John Roberts. Either way, I think we will get 2 wide receivers in the draft. A lot of depth. Totally agree. I think they're going to bring in some competition. We've got 10 draft picks. And it'll be interesting to see who he brings in, but I think there'll be definitely some good competition there.
For sure.
Let's see here. Diggs is finally gone. CMB sounds like you're happy about that. We talked about.
You said pray for me.
Pray for me. So we're with you. I mean, I was going to ask that as well, and let me bring up Anthony for this discussion. We're like 5 days removed. And bring Anthony up. Anthony. Welcome to the show, buddy.
What's up, man?
You guys can hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
I'm making dinner right now. That's why I'm not on camera.
That's all right.
Chris Braswell? Are you kidding?
You don't like him?
No. Chris Braswell is discount Isaac Adisa.
Wow. Really? Adisa
yes,
Isaac? Wow.
Yes, absolutely. Neither one of them is good. And Braylon Trice also over Chop Robinson. Did you not watch it, Chop?
I have. I'm not totally. All right, listen. Give me back on the Chop Robinson wagon.
Okay, Chop Robinson. First off, the number of times he has passed a guard or a tackle before they are out of their stance is shocking. You can't teach that speed. You can't. The violence at the point of attack is stunning. There is some bad tape from last year when he was facing the dude from Ohio State, the gigantic one.
Yeah, he got smoked.
But that guy stonewalled people in the NFL.
Right.
So, I don't really consider that to be, the world's biggest issue. The lack of production, in terms of sacks. The man had 34 pressures last year and 35 the year before that.
That is true.
Not like he's not getting there. It's not like he's not affecting a play.
That's fair.
The tools at this man's command are so much greater than literally every other edge prospect in this draft class. The fact that you would pass on them for Jags like Braylon Trice, who is
dude, he's you think he's just a guy?
Absolutely, he's just a dude.
Oh,
he is just a dude. You're killing me here.
I haven't heard that.
I love it though, Anthony.
In a while.
Listen, Anthony knows his stuff, man. He does watch a lot of tape. You should see some of his breakdowns, and I wish we could have done more of that on our AFC East Summit show, but YouTube flagged us.
All right. The other one. Let's go back to this. Armchair scouting was me, by the way. The slander for AD Mitchell. I get it. You think he takes plays off because he doesn't run that fast when he's not targeted sometimes, but I'm telling you that is not him taking plays off. He does something that only really elite wide receivers do. That is, he doesn't show his full speed all the time. He jogs sometimes and then increases his pace on double moves. He does a really good job of being deceptive in his pace, which is something Jason Kelsey talks about.
Yeah.
It's an elite thing to do. To be able to know when you need to throttle down and throttle back up. And AD Mitchell does that already. Also, this taking plays thing off, it's all supposed to lead towards this idea that the dude's a little bit lazy. But have you watched him run block? I mean,
admittedly,
he's a maniac.
Not a ton. Yes.
He is a maniac on run blocking. Which is the thing I look for specifically when I'm talking about effort for wide receivers. Do they care about run blocking? He cares. I'm telling you right now, AD Mitchell is not a guy to be sleeping on. He is a
So
really good wide receiver prospect.
If it's between Xavier Leggett or AD Mitchell, who you taking, Anthony?
It's AD Mitchell.
Wow. All right.
It's AD Mitchell.
All right, well,
AD Mitchell also has one of the lowest drop rates in the class. He has
that is true.
Smooth
yes,
hands.
I did see that. Yeah.
Really smooth hands.
Anthony, we're getting a little bit of echo, but listen, Anthony is on our AFC East Summit show every Tuesdays. He represents the Jets, and as you can see, the man knows his stuff. The only last question I have for you, Anthony, because you need to finish cooking dinner, is what are you cooking right now?
Okay, right now I'm making sort of a chicken Alfredo, except instead of Parmesan, I use Gorgonzola.
Oh, that sounds phenomenal.
Sounds real good. Yeah. I still have dinner for me here about another 30, 40 minutes, so get me hungry there. Good stuff, Anthony.
All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm almost done cooking, so thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. We'll
Always
see you
a pleasure.
Tuesday.
All right, take care.
All right, brother. Go Bills. I love that.
There you go.
Maybe he sold me again on Chop Robinson because, listen, I was starting to lose a little bit of faith. Okay, I did watch that Ohio State tape too, by the way, that he mentioned. Yeah, he was invisible. He does offer some good things. I mean, insane first step. You talk about, like, we have a guy, AJ Epinesa, who is super fast off the ball. But this dude's getting in the backfield, and I know it's just college, right? But, like, this dude's getting in the backfield, before he can even blink. So he's absolutely right on that. I don't know, man. I think he's starting to sell me on it. Let me go back, watch some more tape. All right? Hand up. Let's go watch some more tape.
On which one? Chop or?
Chop.
Okay.
And
like I said,
I like watching Penn State.
Wide receiver, defensive tackle, edge. Those three. I will not be disappointed if we go any of those routes first pick. And obviously, I always say this, Jake. The defense is better when the front line is getting some pressure on the quarterback. It makes everyone behind you better. And if we can get a guy like that, I'm super excited. I'd be pumped. I might be buying his jersey. I'm telling you that much right now. A jersey guy.
Listen, I made a rule to never buy another jersey.
I heard you tell my dad that.
Not doing it. I'm not playing that game anymore, Mike. Not doing it.
So let's see here. Trekker Viewer again. Yeah, WrestleMania. Yesterday and today was Cody Rhodes and
The Rock.
God, what's that? Well, Cody Rhodes and what's his name? Why am I
Triple H? Is he in it?
No.
He was on McAfee the other day. I was like,
Triple H is more. He's involved in the business now.
Okay.
But The Rock and Cody Rhodes and I forget the other two guys. Why am I? Roman Reigns.
Reigns.
So
the
Roman
Rock's
Reigns,
cousin, right?
Yeah. Well, they're related. Yeah. So Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are going for the championship, the belt tonight. They fought yesterday in a doubles match, Rock and Roman Reigns, and then Cody Rhodes, and God, I forget who the other name was that was teamed up with Cody Rhodes, and of course The Rock and Roman Reigns won that one. Pretty crazy. Pat McAfee was on the side. He was there doing the announcing with the guys. So he loves his wrestling, man.
He's into it. Yeah, he's into it.
So this is I don't know when they started doing this 2-day event for WrestleMania. I do know our friend Keith was there, so I can't wait to hear what his experience was last night. First time he said he's ever been there, but he got offered to go, some free tickets. So looking forward to hear what Keith says about his experience there. As long as I've been a fan of WrestleMania, I've never been to an event. I wish I would have.
Mike, you're in LA. You got it. I mean,
I know,
you got
right?
the prime time right
exactly.
there.
Exactly. All right, let's get back to some football talk here. Trekker Viewer, appreciate you joining us while you can. And go check out let us know how that goes. Let's see. Trey Williams saying, Chop is going 24-30. Those other guys are going late second or worse.
It's crazy because I've seen him in these later mock drafts that have been coming out. It's like he's going later and later. I don't understand why. Maybe that's what's got me on this other side of things because I was all about Chop. I was like, listen, if he's at 28, we're taking Chop all day. But listen, maybe Anthony got me back on the train. All right.
There you go.
I can have a change of heart, right? I'm allowed. I am a Penn State fan too. So I'm trying not to be biased on this.
Yeah, one thing you get from Anthony is straight facts, man. So he knows his stuff. So I love it. I'm with you. I'm with you, Anthony, on the Chop. All right. Big Ben. Ben, haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Love
Jake,
it, Ben.
who is the player who will fall down the draft
Ooh.
unexpectedly? Well, we already know
Unexpectedly.
Tavondre Sweat's going to fall big time. Maybe.
Yeah.
Was arrested this morning. But who else? Like, are you talking first round, Ben, or are you just talking in general? But let's assume he's talking first round, Jake, like a first rounder who might slip.
It's a good name. What's a good name for this? I was gonna say maybe Chop Robinson. Maybe I keep that. Maybe I keep that going. Right.
There you go.
I don't know if I can
guns,
after
man.
Anthony just came on here though. So, that's a great question. There's always one too. It's every draft. There's always that one guy where you think like it's gonna happen. You know who I'm gonna say? JJ McCarthy. I know Jim Harbaugh is gaga about this guy, right? But I don't think the Chargers are going to be taking a quarterback. And I have I don't know what it is. Just something in my gut is telling me maybe he slips. But it's going to be the best steal. So that's why I'm going to roll with for that.
I like it. Weston's saying Troy Franklin. I could see that as well.
Yeah, I could see that. But I feel like that would be expected almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Troy Franklin's a first rounder. I think it's a reach. So I already expect him to fall a little bit. Good question by John Robert. Do you think they will extend Rousseau? I personally do.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now, of course, is this his year? Is this his final year? Okay.
Yeah, and they didn't. So yeah, is this the 5th year option? No, he was drafted in 2021. They didn't take on his 5th year option, I don't believe.
Okay.
So this is the year to do it. If you're going to extend him, this is his final season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they will. I mean, okay. So I'm a little disappointed. I thought he would be a better pass rusher. That hasn't came to fruition yet, but his run stopping ability has been great. Fantastic. I love that. Yeah. I still think he can get there with bringing the pressure. I love that he's super tall. Get those arms up. If you can't get to the quarterback, put him up. He's done that a few times. Still look back to that rookie season where he made that play on Pat Mahomes. Chiefs were driving, and it was just an amazing play where he tipped the ball up and intercepted it. And so I personally would. Jake, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this year is going to be telling, right? So I feel like last year was supposed to be his breakout season. 3rd time's a charm, right? Like previous years, he's talking this big game, and he came in already very raw, and we were all told we got a really good one. Misses out on the 2020 season, I think he opted out of that season. And really, it was like the big comparison was between him and Jalen Phillips because they were college teammates and who was going to turn out better. And Jalen Phillips he's top notch. He's great. If he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league. Greg Rousseau, I don't know if you could say the same. While he's a really good run defender, he hasn't gotten to that next level as a pass rusher. And to have the athleticism that he does and to have that talent, I feel like it's a little frustrating because you just want to see a little bit more. Production-wise, at least, I think you're waiting. I think you're gonna wait on this this one a bit, Mike. Especially because he's probably gonna want a lot of money too.
Well, I think it's a big gamble.
If you extend him, then it's
a gamble. Like, let me see here. I just want to check on is this the year? Let me just check real quick what his contract is.
I think it is because they didn't.
But if you wait, Jake, so if you get him early and you believe in him, a price is going to be nice. The price is right. If you wait, as a big year, he'll be priced out probably.
Yeah. I like what John Roberts said too. He said, look how long it took Ed Oliver to change. It took an extension really to make him a top 5 defensive tackle in the league. So maybe that's the best move, Mike. Maybe you do extend him early and then he'll just go ball out.
Yeah, let's see here. So yes. So 2024, obviously he signed through this year. I don't know why they show. Okay, and then so it'd be his 5th year.
The 5th year option, yeah, which I don't believe they've done anything with.
Right. So again, you say wait, I say make it happen. We'll see. Like I understand what you're saying. Wait, obviously, you always want to wait because you do have the option. So if let's say he goes and balls out, right? He just has a fantastic year. Finally gets that 10 sacks that you've been saying he's going to get for the last
Then
year
you're
or
going to have
two.
to pay him.
Then you have to pay him.
You know what? I'm going to say because of what we did with Ed Oliver and how Brandon Beane he looks like a genius now based on all those other defensive tackle contracts.
Yeah.
Let's extend him because he's going to ball out if we do. Let's do it.
All right, cool. Let's see here. Let's see. I guess let's catch up with everybody. Anyone going to the draft? So the draft is in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool. Not me. If it was closer to the I think when was it in Vegas? Was it last year?
That
Or
was
2 years ago?
yeah, it was last year. Right.
Yeah, I should have gone. I mean, I missed an opportunity right there. But I feel they'll be back here on the West Coast at some point, just the nicer weather. And I'll go. But no, Detroit. I don't know, Jake. It's not that far of a drive for you.
You know what, though? If I were to go, I mean, definitely out of all the people I could pick to go with, I think my dad would have to come with me just because we've been talking about going in the past. We almost went to Cleveland. We almost went to Cleveland for that draft, but we didn't. So, and here's the issue, Mike. So Big Al, he's leaving on Wednesday, and they're going on like a 22-day cruise.
Ooh.
So they're going to be somewhere sailing while the draft is going on. So he's going to have to figure that out. Yeah. So I don't think I could do it. Not without him.
Big Al was live with us last year in the draft. Remember that?
Yeah, he was.
And whatever he was watching, he always had the information earlier than the rest of us. He's like, the pick is in. Here's the pick. I'm like, oh, don't tell the rest of us.
We're all streaming. He's got cable still, so he gets the service just a little bit faster. Yeah.
We're going to have to figure out how we do that next year so we're not spoiling it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ben's saying, yeah, I think Rousseau's pretty darn good for what they ask him to do. Yeah. I see enough in him for sure, and I still think he hasn't hit his ceiling yet.
Oh, man, see, that's the problem though. We've been saying that every year. It's like, this is the year, and it hasn't come to fruition yet. But Ben makes a good point too, because they do. I mean, when you look at what they ask of our defensive ends, play and contain. That's your main responsibility. You get those defensive tackles to generate the pressure. I do like what you say there, Ben. All right. I've been flip-flopped twice in the show now on defensive ends. So
they're also like, they're rotating, right? And you said this with AJ Epinesa, keep him in there longer, and we'll see more from him. Yeah. Also, too, Rousseau has had some ankle injuries the last couple of years. Seems to be ankle, and that's a huge. I mean, let's face it, guy that big, you have any ankle injuries, that's going to hold you back a little bit. But that's also a sign that you don't want to see either, like somebody who just continues to get injured. But no, I'm good. Let's resign him. Let's open the checkbook. Let's pay some money. Let's make it happen.
Exactly what you said. Groot can't stay healthy, which is why he can't hit his ceiling. That's a good point.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the only thing. I mean, but you never know. There's been guys that used to have injuries, and I was just thinking Freddie, what's his name? It was a running back. Fred Jackson? No, not Freddie Jackson for the Bills. Played for the Jaguars.
Oh, Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor. Was it Fred Taylor? Yes, it was Fred Taylor. Yeah. So Fred Taylor was a staple in my fantasy football leagues back in the day.
Oh, he was great. Yeah.
He couldn't stay healthy to save his life. Then all of a sudden, it flipped. And if you were lucky to stick with him long enough, I mean, he stayed healthy for a few years, and then it was like you were getting your money back for him. So I'm with him. It hasn't been so bad that he's missed a lot of time or any time, right? Rousseau, yes, he's been dinged up, but he plays through it a lot of the times. And you can say, if Sean was here, he's like, he shouldn't be playing. If he's playing, if he tells the coach he's good to go, he should be hitting, it's his fault then if we're going to, talk bad about him because he's not producing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm good with him. Let's see. Oh, here we got John Roberts saying Epinesa only played 38%, and he wants to strive to be.
Give him a full season as a starter, man. Yeah. Like, let him have more than. It's crazy, 38%. I actually thought it was a little bit more than that, even, but 38% is disgusting. And I know he's also been banged up too, but it's frustrating when you see how quick his first step is, and then he'll have these like stretches of games where he does produce, and the fact of the matter is this dude needs to be a starting defensive end in the NFL. Let him get a full season under his belt.
Yeah, Weston, people keep talking about how deep the tackle and wide receiver class is, but there are a lot of really good linebackers and safeties in this draft also. So one of the things I feel we do need to go after in this draft is safety. We talked about one earlier on, but Jake, you think he's going to convert James Williams? You think he's going to convert to a linebacker?
Yeah,
But would love for us to get a safety. But my concern is we only have the first round pick, second round pick. We don't have a third. We have some force. But I mean, a safety that I would love. I don't know if they'll be around. I mean, I think they'll be around in the third. We just don't have a pick in the third, so we're gonna have to. We'd have to make a move somehow, some way to get a third round pick back. And that's why I wouldn't be shocked if it comes down like we're all like wide receiver, and all of a sudden Bean says, you know what? There are no number one receivers on my board left, and he trades back and he gets a third rounder at that point. Then all of a sudden, game on. We've done it in a few of our mocks. You've done it, right?
Yeah.
You've moved back, and it worked out extremely well. So,
Mm-hmm.
Again, I wouldn't be surprised with that. So, with you there, Weston.
I feel like based on the circumstances right now, though, especially coming off the Steph Diggs trade, it's either you're staying put or you're trading up. Like, I don't think there's going to be any trading back. Now, I will say after that first pick is made, I think there will be an effort to maybe get into that third round because we don't have a third rounder. It's probably essential to get that third rounder this year.
Yeah, Jake, I'm agreeing with you. Like, if I was a betting man, sometimes I am, I would say the Bills are going to move up. Now, how big they go, I think it might be bigger than we've seen in recent years. They've typically moved up 2 or 3 spots. I think they may go a little bit bigger, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if he just said, no, I'm holding at 20, I'm moving back. And you don't know too, Jake, we might try to move up the board, but those other teams have to want to pass on their guys and give us that pick. We have to make the pot super sweet to kind of guarantee that we're going to get that spot, move up. So interesting stuff. Ben's saying, what is Ben saying?
I love this. Hey, shout out to Nat. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you. Listen, Ben, he always tells me, Mike, so Ben, I work with Ben.
Yeah,
went to
I know
high
Ben.
school together. I've known Ben for many years. So he's always supporting, and we appreciate the hell out of you.
Yes, we do.
But he always says, sometimes I can't always comment on your shows, but I'm always watching. And his girlfriend, Natalie, I don't think she's the biggest football fan in the world. I think he's trying to get her over that hump, and we'll make it happen. I know we'll make it happen. So love that she has this question, though. Wants to know if the late round draft selections will be affected by the kickoff changes. So, yeah, now that there's the new kickoff rule, I have a feeling we're going to see some more starters on the kickoff team because they're only 5 yards apart. I think it's 5 yards apart. And you have to maybe bring in some strategy, right? You could run like legitimate trap plays on kickoffs now. You could have offensive linemen out there for your front five. So maybe you'll see some more late round offensive linemen even. A lot of times when you are drafting those later rounds, those guys are going to be your special teams players. So it might affect the different positions that you select now because of the kickoff rules. So I guess that's my answer. I don't know if that's a good answer.
Well, I think it's a good answer. I'm excited about the new kickoff rule. I know you are as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think it finally makes it relevant again. And there's, it's going to be fun to see the different strategies. I haven't really thought it all through. I know there are people that are out there like, what are all these different strategies that you can do? I know you have to let the folks know if you're going to do an onside kick. And I think the onside kick cannot happen until the fourth quarter as well. I think that's
right.
The rule.
Yep.
And you have
you got to declare it too.
You got to declare it exactly. Let's see here. Oh, is Sammy V Ben's dad?
Sure is.
All right. Yes, I knew that. See, I met
Ben
when I went out there,
baby.
Usually a few years back. I think I met him at the office. I'm pretty sure I did.
You met Ben too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I met Ben. Yeah,
for
sure. He was there. Let's see. Let me just go through the chat there. I trust McDermott and Bean's draft board on safeties. The one spot I'm not worried about. LOL.
I agree. I like that. They do it. You talk about late round picks. That's where all of our safeties and starting corners have basically come from that have been drafted by the Buffalo Bills. So, yeah, I mean, that's the one position group where I think they have a pretty good read on.
So, John, are you saying you wouldn't move up at all? I mean, they've done it the last couple of years, just moving up 2 spots, 2 or 3. You're okay with 2 or 3, or you're saying no, even that's going to be too expensive to move up? Sorry, go ahead.
This is where I think you could parlay that second round pick that we got out of the Steph Diggs trade and not really lose out on this. You could take our first rounder and then next year's second, because we already have 2 second rounders next year. So we could take even that Minnesota one, which probably is a little more attractive because the Vikings are in a quote unquote rebuild, and trade up to maybe pick 17 or 18, so first and second for their first. And I think that would get you there. So, and then Brian Thomas Jr. is very well in play.
I think Brian, how far do you think Brian would, like, where do you think you're going to have to make that decision? Like, if he's available at 20, you going to get him?
I don't know if he
where are
gets
you
to
going
20.
to get him? Oh, you think he's
I would get him at
to
17. I'd get him
Really?
at 17.
Okay.
Yeah. You look at like the Jags or the Seahawks, they're at 16, I believe. So you can maybe make a move with them. But I would feel just fine with that.
Yeah. I think I agree with you here, John. Andy Isabella will be our kick returner. I fully can see that happening.
So, John, too, so I know you said too many holes this year. We need all of our picks. So we're not really losing a pick this year. We'd be losing a next year pick, which we already assumed we wouldn't have anyways.
Yeah.
So that's my reasoning for it. So we're just basically trading. We're swapping first rounders, and then we're trading an additional second rounder. But we're not really.
From next
we'll still
year.
have, right, from next year.
Yeah.
We'll still have a second rounder next year.
Yeah. Let's see here. Big Al, going to be on the boat. I don't know what you're going to do, Big Al. We're going to miss you for the live draft, but hopefully maybe you're docked somewhere and you're able to catch some of it. I still want a 7-foot basketball player to block field goals and extra points. Sign him after the draft. Best investment for our special teams player. Well, you have Groot.
And 2 tall Jones.
Yeah, you have Groot and get another one. Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if you got like a 7-5 guy, 7'5" guy, someone just specialty guy, right? Just a specialty guy. But you're taking up
the
a
issue with
spot.
those guys.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and this is why most 7-foot plus guys do not play in the NFL: pad level and strength.
Yep.
I feel like a lot of, and honestly, just overall like coordination. It's just not really there all the time. And the NFL, I mean, these are the greatest athletes in the world. And no disrespect to any other sport out there, but sometimes you don't need the tallest guy in the world. It helps, but there is a reason why there's pretty much a cutoff in the NFL of like 6'9", and those are offensive tackles usually anyways. So, but I like what my dad's saying. Get a taller guy that can go out there and block field goals. Absolutely. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Like I said, the only downside of that is you're taking up a roster spot. And like you said, Jake, they're not really going to be able to do much elsewhere. Trey's saying if the board falls bad, Bean could move down from 28, recoup a third, and trade back up for another third. Equals 2 seconds and 2 thirds.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Like so I was saying, I would not be surprised, Trey, if he didn't like the board and moved down. I'll be so disappointed because they're going to be live on a stream that night, waiting with anticipation. Right. And then he says the Buffalo Bills have moved into the second round. Now we have to wait till the next day.
Yeah. So I could see that, Trey. That does make sense to me, because then maybe you have 2 second rounders, an early second rounder, and then stay at pick 60. So I wouldn't be totally opposed to that, but I still feel like it's either trading up or we're staying put.
Yeah, I got you, Big Al. Mike, you got to help me figure out what time I can watch the draft. I'll be sailing between Tahiti and Hawaii. Wow. It's a nice problem to have. It's a very nice problem to have. I love that.
I don't feel that bad.
No. We'll get something. I mean, we'll get you some special equipment that will bring in, you'll get a reception of some sort. Get you some satellite connections out there.
Oh yeah.
So, did you get to see the women's national championship today?
I only saw highlights. I wasn't able to watch it. I mean, I could have watched it, but I was actually outside doing yard work all day. That's why my face is so red, and it's hilarious because look at this. Like, I have a tan line from my hat. I was wearing a hat all day, so right here it's just pure white and then all red. And my wife was laughing at me. So here we are.
I'll tell you what, Caitlin Clark obviously breaks all kinds of records this year. She was incredible. She kind of had an off game today. I mean, she comes out of the chute with 18 points in the first quarter, just killing it. And I forget who they put it on her, but South Carolina was stacked, that team. I mean, they had some big girls that Iowa just couldn't match up with. And they changed who was defending Caitlin. I think, again, 18 points in the first quarter. I think she goes 5 for the next 15 or 5 for the next 20. So the defender did a fantastic job on her. And to me, it just was the South Carolina was just too stacked. There was just too many good players on that team. They had some folks dropping threes. That was a problem with them last year. They just didn't have those perimeter shooters.
Right.
But it was still Iowa gave it everything they got. It was a great game. It got really close towards the end. I think it got again. I mean, they had a huge lead. It was like Iowa came out, got up by 11. Like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a runaway.
Yeah.
And then South Carolina fought back. They get up in the fourth quarter by almost 12. I want to say 12 points. You're like, this is going to be a rout. And then Iowa, scrapped their way back, and it was just a really good game. I mean, I enjoyed it. I typically don't watch a lot of college basketball. I try to watch the national game for the men's, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll watch that, but I typically don't catch a lot of the women's. But with Caitlin Clark bringing so much attention this year, I just had to.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most I've heard about women's. I mean, it's great. It's awesome. I mean, I have a daughter, so this is awesome. Like, maybe I want to get her into basketball, right? And it is crazy because it's almost like, and this might even be the case for like men's too, but now with the NIL being a thing, you're almost better off staying in college and making that guaranteed money you're going to get with that NIL deal as compared to potentially losing out on that, going to the NFL or the NBA or WNBA, maybe not making as much because you don't get as highly drafted as you thought you were going to be, or you have an injury and then you're out in a few years. So
yeah,
it's good. I will say this, as bad as it is for college, it's also good because it keeps the good players in college for longer.
yeah. I don't know much about that deal. So what you're telling me is college players are finally getting money, getting paid now?
Yeah. Name, image, likeness.
Wow.
So this came into effect last year officially,
Okay.
I believe.
So
And
that's the case.
yeah. So players are able to sign with different brands and sponsorships, stuff like that. So they're making a lot of money. Like, dudes that are going into the NFL this year may have made more money last year in college than they will this year in the NFL. Pretty wild.
Yeah, that's awesome, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's long overdue.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it just kind of felt like if you watch the game today, it was like Caitlin Clark didn't have a lot of support around her. I mean, the team was good, obviously. And it was interesting. I think they had knocked South Carolina out of the tournament last year. And then, I mean, if you watch Iowa at all, they came back from, I forget, it was 11 or 12 down or something. There was a big deficit to beat UConn. UConn's one of the top teams. UConn's going tomorrow night for the men's. So good stuff. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you didn't watch any UFL though, Mike. I got to get you on that train somehow. Maybe I'll send you some highlights. Jake Bates, I know Time for UFL mentioned it in the chat earlier, hit another 60-plus yard field goal. This time it was a 62-yard field goal. This dude, it's a crazy story. So he's the kicker for the Birmingham Stallions. And last week we had all learned that he hadn't even attempted a professional field goal or any type of field goal in general since his high school days. He's always been just a kickoff specialist. So he went out there last week and he hit a 64-yarder. And of course, there was a timeout called just before he hit it. So he still hits it. And then he has to go out there and hit it again. And guess what he did? He hit it.
Wow.
So 64-yard field goal. Hadn't attempted a field goal in a game since high school. This week, kicks a 62-yard field goal. So the guy is on fire. And, man, it might be a kicker's league because last year we saw Brandon Aubrey, who also played for the Birmingham Stallions, be a Pro Bowl kicker for the Cowboys. So maybe Jake Bates is next in line.
Jake, are you worried? Because I've been thinking about this. It seems like the field goals are getting longer and longer. These kids' legs are incredible. I feel like it might be hurting the game a little bit. I don't know if they have to change something. Yeah, I mean, if you only have to go like 15 yards now, especially with this new kickoff rule, you start at there's a potential where you start at the 35 or something like that. And now you only got to go like 20 yards and you're in field goal range. I don't know. I'm not enjoying that as much. Like, just kick a field goal. Like now it becomes a field goal battle. I don't know what you could do other than you'd have to change the ball, I think. I don't think you could move the field goal post back anymore for most stadiums, maybe. But I don't know. It's interesting. I'm just seeing like, man, what's next? Nowadays, 50 plus is money. Nothing, right? 60 yarders, nothing. Look at the guy you just talked about today.
Yeah.
We've seen those 60 plus. I mean, what was it? The record was broke. Was it last year they broke the record with a 67 yarder or something?
66. Yeah.
66?
So Justin Tucker against the Lions. It was 2022, I think it was.
Yeah, Trey, this was a good point too. There was just no bench for Iowa. I mean,
Oh yeah, bench points were nuts. I did see that.
South Carolina was just incredible, and they have a couple young rookies that were just amazing. So, like I said, Caitlin Clark, great game, and I'm not disrespecting any of the other girls around her because there were some good players, and they wouldn't have gotten there at all if they didn't have other talent. But you can definitely see South Carolina just had more. Just had a lot more, actually.
I just brought this up because I just wanted to see, right? So, and now, the only primary kicker to actually be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame is Jan Stenerud. Oh, I'm sorry, Morton Anderson too, as of recent. But Jan Stenerud, I just wanted to see what his numbers looked like percentage-wise. So, back when he played, his career field goal percentage was 66.8.
Wow.
That would have you out the door within a blink of an eye this day and age. The kicking percentage, the field goal percentage, has to be at 80 or better nowadays in order to be on an NFL roster. So just to see the change over the years, and it's crazy when you look at it. Now, he did have 2 seasons where he was, actually 3, it looks like, where he was 80 plus. But other than that, I mean, it was pretty rough. But what he did back at the time, especially with the straight on toe kick and the form and how that's changed, pretty damn impressive. But yeah, I mean, it's wild to see how much the kicking game has evolved.
Yeah, Big L. Definitely remember Tom Dempsey. Played for the Bills, had half a foot.
Yeah.
Basically had half a foot. It was just a square right at the top of that boot of his. And he was a straight on kicker.
Yep.
Right, he just went straight and booted that thing. And he didn't kick the 62 yarder with the Bills. I forget who it was.
No, it was with the Saints.
With another team. But yep, remember him playing for us. Bills Bunker, good to see you out there, man.
Good there he is. Jake, what's up, brother?
Yeah.
We got to collab again with Jake. He tried to get me last week to get on a show, and he wanted to go live at 6:30. I'm like, man, that's just a little too early. But listen, I am available after hours here, so we got to make it happen, brother. It was fun having you on the show.
Yeah, Jake's a dad of a young daughter, and he's gonna have another one, a boy, soon. So, boy, it's gonna be harder to get his time. It's gonna be out there late night with Jake and Mike. That's what it's gonna be. That's what.
Oh, there we go.
The rush hour show to the late night show with Jake and Mike.
I like it. Yeah, Tom Dempsey, great name.
Yeah, so Jake, back on that field goal thing. I mean, I don't want to. It used to be fun, interesting, like, okay, that they show the field goal line. You got to get here. That thing needs to be backed up at least 10 yards now, because it's like, they keep saying this. And then it was interesting. It's like, okay, we got a shot here. It's a long field goal. Dude nails it. And it just felt like that all year long, like whoever we were going against. And other kickers now in the league, 50 plus is the new 40 plus.
Yeah, it's like everything is advanced by 10 yards,
now
right?
It's going to be the 60 plus is not a big deal anymore for these kickers. So I don't know. I'm not liking it. It's taking away a little bit from the game, in my opinion, but I don't know what they can do about it.
The thing is, too, I mean, the offenses just move the ball too easily. So maybe you got to give some more advantages to the defense. It seems like every chance they can get, they're taking away any type of defensive advantage there is. And now they ban the hip drop tackle and all this other stuff. We can get into
points. I get it.
And and that's the thing. I mean, a lot of owners and GMs and everything, all the people at the league meetings, they came out and basically said, I forget who it was. Rich McKay, maybe it was, came out and said that they wanted the average amount of points per game combined points per game to be around 47 points. This past year was 43. Scoring was actually down this past season.
I'm old fashioned. I still love some good defensive battles. But yeah, like I said, that field goal kicking now is easily going to make that a thing where you can hit those points. Jake saying, congrats, Jake. And he's got a question. We talked a little bit about AD Mitchell, a little bit of heated discussion about AD Mitchell. No, it was not AD. Was it AD or?
Yeah, AD Mitchell.
Yeah, it was AD Mitchell. I remember you like Worthy a lot. Do you prefer him over AD Mitchell?
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, I think between the two of them, I think AD Mitchell has a more pro-ready body. Whether he's going to be better in the pros, I don't know. So Anthony just came on our show, Jake. He's on our AFC East Summit show, and he was trying to tell us that, basically explain to us that he is not as lazy as we think he is, because that's the knack he's sort of gotten, that he takes plays off. He doesn't like blocking. Anthony, who has watched a ton of tape, and I do trust his take on this, has basically assured us that that is not the case whatsoever. He actually enjoys blocking. If you ever watched him run block, he's actually very good at it. But it does seem like all the knacks on him have been the fact that he doesn't like to get dirty. He takes plays off, and when the play isn't going to him, you basically don't count on him. So it is interesting. When you look at all the statistics too, Trey had brought this up, that his average yards after the catch were almost at the bottom of all the receivers in this class. He was at the bottom 20 of that. And, you know, I will say this, he does have incredible hands and did pretty good at Texas. Production-wise, he was pretty good. I think 800 yards this past year. I prefer Xavier Leggett, the other Xavier, over AD Mitchell. And I'm going to stand on that. Definitely.
I don't know what's going to happen if draft comes along and we don't get Leggett, or we pass him. This would be your worst nightmare. We pass him. He's there for us to take in, and we don't take him. You're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
But
I'll say this, like Xavier Worthy, if you turn on his tape, so while he is 168, he's not afraid of a little contact. Like, this dude was still trying to lower his shoulder at times at Texas, and he would take a screen to the house, and there would be contact involved, and he was just so slippery that guys would fall off him, basically.
Yeah, you know me. I mean, he's just too small. I love the speed, and like I said earlier, when I was watching a Steve Smith podcast, they're like, you know, just because a guy ran a 4.2 doesn't mean they're going to be the best receiver, and a lot of times that turns out to be the case.
Yeah,
right. And being small, yeah, you can always say, well, let's beef him up a little bit, get him some chicken wings, some great pizza from Picasso's or from Bacci or Imperial Pizza. Let's just bulk him up, but then all of a sudden he goes from running a 4.21 to running a 4.41.
Yeah, right.
He's got to carry those extra 20, 30 pounds, whatever it is. Just get the guys that are a little bit bigger, 6 foot plus. And was he 6 foot?
6'1". I think he's 6'1".
Is he 6'1"? Okay, at least he's got the size, and then get the bigger guys.
6'1", 168 though. That's, you know.
I know.
And we talked about Troy Franklin being a rail, right? Yeah. So.
And I worry about injuries, and like some of the folks have already said, just being able to handle press coverage. So.
Yeah, I like what Jake said here. So Leggett's definitely interesting. My guys are Neighbors, Thomas Jr., Mitchell, in that order. Yeah, I love Brian Thomas Jr. I would be salivating over him. That's the guy I think the Bills make a move to trade up for. I feel like Malik Neighbors is just it's unreachable for us, unfortunately.
Well, we're all going to have a little pool. I'm going to put a spreadsheet together, and we'll do it in the Discord. Jake, you should do it. Bill's Bunker. We have a Discord. The link's in our description of our show. It's free. Join us. We talk football pretty much every day. The community's growing. Got a lot of great people out there. They're giving us breaking news, which is fantastic. And I'm going to put a pool together in the Discord, Jake. We're going to talk about, first of all, since we have some Chiefs fans, put a little pool together, and who's I don't know how to work yet. We'll figure it out. You and I, we'll put something together. Like who we're taking. You got to pick the person, and maybe we'll have a little prize at the end of that. I think we tried that.
Let's just do. Will Xavier Leggett be a Bill? Yes, no, or actually, how about this? Will Xavier Leggett be a Bill or a Chief? And then you can say Bills, Chiefs, or other. How about that?
Well, then the odds of somebody getting that right are pretty much 100%.
That's true.
I was hoping to we did this a couple of years ago. You remember when it was last year. We did the live draft. If you predicted who it was, we had some giveaway. I remember. I forget it was. Was it a jersey or something? It was something fun.
Yeah, it was something. Yeah.
But
Fanatics gift card, maybe?
Nobody got it right. Nobody got it right when we moved up to get Dalton Kincaid.
Man.
All right, here we go. Let's see. What's Weston bringing out? See, Weston, he's in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Gets up super early there on the East Coast, I think, or somewhere around there. But
Central. I think
I'm
he's
not even
central.
awake when he's bringing out this news, and same with Jake and these other guys because I'm on the West Coast. And my phone, I had to start turning it off or setting some set some settings that doesn't wake me up. But these guys bringing up the all the good stuff that's happening. So he says article came out saying Neighbors is high maintenance and not
Yeah.
going to do well in a big city. So, we talking another dig situation here?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I totally understand wanting to stay away from that for sure. Buffalo isn't like a big city per se, but it's big enough. I mean, we're still a small market team considerably, but I don't know, man. I don't think there's a chance of even getting him, so I don't even know if it's like worth diving into that much. But yeah, that'll be interesting. I wonder if other teams stay away from him then.
You got to take what Weston's saying with a grain of salt. He is a Chiefs fan. He's hoping that this Neighbors falls down. He doesn't want anyone taking
32.
him. He's like, I got my eyes set on Neighbors. We're moving up to get him.
Oh, that'd be
Buffalo,
nuts.
stay away from him, please.
That's a good question too. You talk about for the Chiefs because Rashee Rice is probably going to miss at least, I would say, 6 games. The Chiefs have got to be going receiver first round, I would think. But it is a deep class, so I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Go Bills. Let's see. I'm telling you, some of these day 2 receivers could be some legit. Yeah. I could see, honestly, I mean, where do you see Brendan Rice going? 3rd rounder? Or where do you see him
3rd
on
or
mock
4th.
boards?
Probably 3rd to 4th, yeah.
I am throwing it out there right now. This guy is going to be fantastic. Johnny Wilson, another guy, probably going, 3rd or 4th?
Yeah. Yeah.
Another guy I would not mind getting with a 3rd or 4th pick. So I totally agree with you, Weston. I think because it's so deep, we've only been talking about like the top 5 guys in all our mocks, and nobody's really gone deeper. There's like 15, 20 guys deep in that class that maybe not day 1 starters, but dudes could have very good careers in the NFL and be contributors in the first year, just maybe not as a starter.
We talked about like Javon Baker, even Ricky Pearsall, those guys too. I mean, you talk about maybe even another draft class. Those guys are potential late first round talents, but this year it's just so loaded,
Yeah, Bill's Bunker. We talked about that earlier on. It was like, why are these guys making these mistakes? What is wrong with them when there's so many ways to get home safely? You gotta just again, this is definitely gonna hurt his draft stock.
Especially with the Rashee Rice thing being so recent, and then Henry Ruggs too from a few
Henry
years
Ruggs,
ago. Like,
another thing.
come on, man. There's examples that have been set that happened recently.
There's just no excuse with all the drive-in services that are out there now. With all your friends, call your friend. And again, a lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm good. I don't want to, shoot, it's $30, $40. Get your damn Uber and
you can afford to buy,
Yeah, you're about to get a huge contract. Keep yourself safe. Unfortunately, it's a red flag now for a lot of GMs.
Yeah.
And Brandon Rice, the bloodline, man. I'm trusting the bloodline. His dad, has been coaching him up all his life. His dad, he's about the same height as his dad. He's quicker than his dad. I love everything I see about Brandon Rice. And
much bigger than his dad, actually, Mike.
Whoever gets him is going to be extremely happy.
Mm-hmm. Official height and weight, by the way, 6'2", 208. I just had to look that up.
And what was Jerry's?
Jerry? Let's see. Probably 6 on the nose, I'm thinking. Oh, 6'2", 200, actually. He's a little bit taller than I thought.
That's pretty much right on.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
Like father, like son. So I would love that one. He's saying, I really like McCaffrey as a legit possibility for Buffalo. Remember, Bean was part of Carolina crew that drafted Christian.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I wouldn't mind that.
Where, though?
Probably round 5.
Okay.
Round 5, yeah.
And then, Weston Rashee probably blew his opportunity to a second contract.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Maybe. I mean, in my opinion, he should be. I mean, I don't know what the penalty is going to be, but in this case where you drove away from a scene, I don't know what the NFL is going to do. But I'd drop the hammer on it, man. 1 year banned.
Yeah,
I would.
Right.
You got it. You got to.
Calvin Ridley got a year for gambling. Come on.
You've got to start setting these examples, man. You've got to. It can't just be he's going to be suspended for the first three weeks of the year, something like dumb like that, and pay a
Right.
fine or whatever. I don't know, something like that. These are serious things, man. Caleb Williams was amazing in college. What I was going to finish up with, Liston. I mean, if he goes out and has a 1,400 yard year and 10 touchdowns, all of a sudden people start forgetting about that situation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Sure.
not below his opportunity a second contract.
I mean, look at Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I hate to bring him up, but that's a pure example right there. People forget about his past a little bit because the guy's putting up MVP numbers, but he can't stay out of the news even as of recent.
Crazy.
Tough.
Yeah, Caleb Williams was amazing in college from the Bills bunker, but the more tape I watch, the more I think Rice is inflating his draft value. And you've said it, Jake. You don't think Caleb Williams is the best QB out there?
No, Drake May. So that's where Anthony and I will agree. Drake May is the best quarterback in this class. Absolutely.
Yep. And then Weston's like, teams are not going to drop a 3 to 4 year contract for like 50, 60, $70 million for that behavior by Rice. Agree. But somebody might pay him if he comes again, depending on what he does this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get a 3 to 4 year. Well, I guess not. Receivers kind of went a little nuts this year, didn't they?
Gabe got three for
value
39.
Shot up for sure. And remind me again, what did Gabe get? Was it 3 year, 14 every year?
3 for 39. I
39,
think it is worth up to 50 though. So max value of 50 million.
Ooh, this is a great discussion right here. Wow. I love it. I'm down for it. What do you think there? I'll start with you, Jake.
Ooh.
Who's the bigger threat to the Bills, the Jets or the Dolphins?
Who's the better coach, Robert Saleh or Mike McDaniel? Because I think that's really what it comes down to. The Jets are loaded. I mean, they did sign Mike Williams. They got Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers coming back. You don't know what version, but I would anticipate it's going to be a hell of a lot better than anything they had last year at the quarterback position. So, I mean, last year they finished, 6-10? So, was it 6-10? Was it worse? Something like that.
It was something like that. But Jake, I mean,
I'm still saying Dolphins.
You think the Dolphins? So I wish Anthony was here, but did the Jets do anything on their offensive line? If they did.
They did.
Okay.
They signed Morgan Moses and they also signed Tyron Smith. So
yeah.
Veterans. Tyron Smith is a Hall of Fame talent. Not maybe a Hall of Fame talent at this point in his career, but did have a really good season last year.
Okay. For me, you're saying Dolphins, huh? For me, if Rodgers can stay healthy and play the full year, if he even play, I mean, who knows if he's still even going to really play? I think he has to play a few more snaps to get that money. Something in the contract was there that he would have to play a few more. If he stays healthy, and that defense, which is always so darn good, I think they're going to be better than the Dolphins this year, and I think they'll be the biggest threat to the Bills. And heck, look, the Bills. A lot of question marks. I mean, I'll ask you this. I've been asking you this often.
Yeah.
Are the Bills better right now than they were last year?
I think with the loss of Steph Diggs, I'm going to say no.
Yeah. Up until that loss, I was feeling
up until that loss,
decent.
It was neck and neck. Yeah.
So, but I think with a really strong draft, I could ask you that after the draft, and you're like, we're better than we were, Mike. We're better. So that's a possibility. Big L saying Dolphins. Come on. And Keith's out there. And Keith, he said he couldn't join us tonight. Calvin Ridley got a year for Gallon. That's some great perspective. Damn. Yep.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Big L says it's still the Dolphins. Did they pay Tua? What was the deal? Did Tua get paid?
No, it hasn't been official yet. I know they've been mulling it over. Let me see if there's any latest rumors on it, but it's definitely going to be around $50 million a year. But nothing yet. Nothing official.
Trey saying Tyrod Taylor almost beat us last year. Maybe Tyrod equals Rodgers at this point. Did they pick up Tyrod? Or what do you mean? I'm not sure. I'm following that.
Who did Tyrod sign with? He just signed with someone. I'm trying to think. Yeah, he did sign with the Jets. That's right. He's the backup for the Jets.
Okay.
How about that?
Oh boy.
Crazy. Yeah.
A defense can keep
Forgot
them in
about that.
any game, and like you said, they have Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, um,
Yeah.
Jake. You put Aaron Rodgers like one of your top. Was it top 3 of
He's
all
4
time
all
quarterback?
time. He's 4
4
all
all
time for me.
time.
Yeah.
So if he can stay healthy, and it doesn't matter. He doesn't have to be his, what he was 5 years ago. Just
Yeah.
his leadership, his ability to not make mistakes, to elevate people. Yeah, I'm saying the Jets. I'm sticking with it.
He's definitely the second best quarterback in the division. There's no doubt. Right now, I think.
Jake's saying it's still Miami. New Jersey has improved, but the Dolphins have improved more.
Love that.
Today.
New Jersey has improved. Hell yeah.
I don't know. Keith, when you listen to Keith, he's saying already, I mean, I think I heard him correct. Is he saying that the Dolphins aren't going to be contending this year?
He did say that.
I think I've heard that a few
did say that.
times.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to my Dolphins rep on the AFC Summit, and I'm listening to them because Keith knows his stuff.
Mhm.
Let's see here. I think long term there will be better than the Dolphins and Jets, even without Diggs.
Look at his second comment too. I can't help but agree. I feel bad for
It's
agreeing.
just
Listen,
about
Anthony, if you're
retired
still out
playing
there
on his team.
listening,
And plus, it's the Jets. The Jets are gonna jet.
that's definitely true. We used to say that about the Bills a lot, though. Well, we still say that about the Bills. So same boat.
I love it. Well, listen, Jake, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, had an open mic, open forum. It was more of an open forum. Only Anthony was brave enough to join us. We'll do it again. It's a lot of fun. Just kind of, taking on what the channel wants to talk about. And Bill's Bunker, I can't take Jets seriously.
I agree, man.
Otherwise,
I'm right there with you. I am right there with you.
I don't know.
By the way,
we split with them last 2 years. Last 2 years we split with them, and that defense is fantastic. So they can get any resemblance of an offense going this year. I am worried.
That's fair. By the way, did you see the thing that came out about Steph Diggs getting lashed out at by Josh Allen after that Jets game in week 1?
A little bit. You wanna? I saw a few things. So, what specifically are you talking about?
So Tim Graham, who's a reporter for, I think he's on The Athletic right now, but follows the Bills, does all his reporting on the Bills, basically came out and said that he didn't report this initially, but he was in the locker room after that week 1 loss to the Jets, and Josh Allen was clearly distraught about it, obviously upset that basically he caused that loss through a lot of boneheaded interceptions. Kyle Allen was trying to sort of console him. Some of the other players were too. And Steph came over and said something to him, and he wasn't sure what he actually said. But Josh kind of looked at him, and he said, "It's one effing game." And then basically motioned him to go away, that he wasn't talking to him anymore after that. So interesting. I mean, this happens. This happens a lot in the locker room. So it's nothing to really bat an eye at the moment. But when you piece together everything, maybe that's just one added domino, right, to the whole domino falling.
I will say this. I'm going to start taking siblings a lot more serious when they talk about their brother, their sister.
Yeah.
Because they're siblings. You talk to your siblings. And you will say things to your siblings that you don't say to anyone else. And the fact that, Steph really, the way he handled that, he's like, well, it's my brother. I can't really control what he says. But I think if anyone now, anybody, I don't care who it is, as long as it's brother, sister, mother, father. It's a song from Journey, by the way. I love that song. I forget what it is. But you got to take that, right? You got to take it. I mean, these people aren't saying things because, and then Stephen A. I've been talking to Stephen A. a lot because I get entertained by him. But man, he's a happy guy this week because he's been able to say, I've been telling people. I did listen to him. I was going to cut his audio, and I'm like, nah, it was kind of cool. He was just saying, I've been telling people since last summer he wants out. And look what happened. So he was right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Josh was right. The fact that the only reported thing he said to David Diggs is impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, Jake, Josh has always been supportive. He's always said good things about Diggs. And, Diggs never really had that same, conversation back. Like, I love Josh Allen. He's my guy. Never heard those kind of things.
That's all he had to do.
Anyhow, I'm past Diggs. I'm good with it. I'm looking forward. Now, let me ask you, Jake. So a lot of people like all the media again, and I like this. Bills are falling. They're falling down the board now. They're not those favorites anymore. They feel like the Texans are better than us. The Chiefs obviously are still that team to beat until you can knock them off that hill. They are that team. The Texans, you got Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore's no joke. Who else do you see up there? Let's see if Burrow comes back. The Bengals, obviously. What other team do you think has risen up the board that I didn't mention already?
Let's see. I mean, you could say the Jets, maybe, but
Hey, if you're gonna say the Jets, then you better have said they're gonna be the biggest
no,
threat to the
I
Bills.
know, and I didn't. So maybe I won't say that. Wow.
Anybody
Maybe the
in?
Steelers. I
Oh,
think they're under the radar a little
dude,
bit.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. I
Yeah.
like the moves they made. Mike Tomlin, you know, hasn't had a losing season, and now he's got some talent there at the QB. Yeah, I think you might have
He's
nailed
got
that
Russell
one.
Wilson on a veteran minimum deal,
Yeah,
and the Broncos are paying all of his salary otherwise. And then he traded essentially nothing for Justin Fields to be his backup and learn from a guy that has had a Hall of Fame career. So
yep,
I thought that's a fantastic move for them.
yeah, I agree. So that's a good call, Jake.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Yeah, there's a couple other teams. The Texans are definitely a threat now, and it's a lot of folks were saying like, "Hey, if you told Diggs you couldn't be, you couldn't work," because apparently they said go find a team that will trade for you, and they said
Yeah.
except for the Chiefs, except for the Chiefs.
I know. I love
My
that.
God, they should have limited that a little bit more. I mean, the Texans, dude, DJ Stroud, if he continues, if he doesn't regress, which I don't
Yep.
expect him to, that what he did last year was incredible.
He shouldn't.
That team is, watch out. And we might have just given them the piece to beat us, although we get to play them. So I'm looking forward. That's one of the big games circled for me.
Definitely. Maybe week 1. Who knows? Monday night could be fun.
Well, let's talk about this. So remind me, all the North teams here. We got the Steelers, we got
Steelers,
Baltimore,
Ravens,
we got the
Bengals,
Bengals, and who's that final team in
Browns.
that?
The
Browns.
Browns.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
Another team I feel like could be slept
Ooh,
on right now is the
yeah.
Browns. Nick Chubb returning from injury. I mean, it's a pretty devastating injury he had last year, but if there's anyone that could do it, I feel like Nick Chubb. There's certain guys out there that can come back and just be freaks of nature after they suffer a season-long injury, and I think Nick Chubb falls in that category. Adrian Peterson, another one of those guys who won MVP after tearing his ACL and rushing for 2,000 yards.
And they get Deshaun Watson back. And again, if he can stay healthy, seems that he hasn't been able to. Even before he came back, he hasn't been the healthiest guy. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But that North. Woo.
Oh, I know. And this is a good point too. Bill's Bunker, Jake, saying they got Jerry Jeudy as well for a 5th and 6th rounder. So they got two really, I mean, I'm not going to say Jerry Jeudy is like a top-notch receiver, but the expectations have been high for him. He was drafted in the 1st round early for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Denver hasn't had great quarterback play, so statistics really aren't there. But this is a guy that could be a 1,000-yard receiver in the league.
Yeah, Weston, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want our Ravens guys that are on this channel hearing this, but Rick and Chris, who actually do some shows.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. Baltimore is so dang good, and they might roll it back again. But yeah, the Steelers are going to definitely be competing for that. I wouldn't be surprised either. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun football. So listen, Jake, we've been going for an hour and 40. It's been a lot of fun. 48, almost an hour and 50. The rush hour has turned into
just your classic rush hour.
Classic rush hour show. I do want to say we do have a golf show coming out Tuesday night for the Masters. The golf show's kind of in retirement. I don't know if we're ever going to get it back full time, but Tony will be going live Tuesday night to talk about the Masters. I asked him, hey, can you at least do the majors? And this is the one time of year I like to partake in DraftKings a little bit with golf. And so he's going to do the Masters. We got the AFC East Summit on Tuesday nights as well. You guys go live at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Got the Sabres Edge. I don't know. Were the Sabres officially eliminated today? I know they lost to the Wings. I knew they pretty much could not afford any more losses. So
is it officially? I think they are.
It's dang close.
Yeah.
So you get the
It was
Sabres
the
Edge
final
show.
nail in the coffin. Yeah.
They go live at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesdays as well. So a lot going on this Tuesday. You'll see Jake and I back on Wednesday at our normal time, 9 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. So Jake, final thoughts?
Fun show tonight. Fun show. I enjoyed it. Listen, I'm gonna have to go back and watch some more Chop Robinson film.
Better, buddy. Better. Took a
I
lot of
might be
heat.
here for it. Anthony got me fired up. I'm ready to go, baby. I'm gonna get in the lab.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to what you and we'll probably, we got to get back to doing some prospects because draft is near, buddy. Draft is nearing. I'm excited.
It's coming up.
All right.
Real quick here, Mike.
So listen, everyone, we appreciate you. It was a lot of fun. Again, join the Discord because we can keep talking it up in the Discord. The guys, we all do it every day. I mean, I'm surprised sometimes. I was deep in the work the other was it Friday or Thursday? Like I was buried getting a deliverable out that day. And next thing I know, I come back to the Discord and I missed like 100 different messages. I'm like, holy cow.
It's active.
What was going on? So there's a lot of activity there. It's a lot of fun. We have good people there. So again, the link's in the description. It's absolutely free. We'd love to see you out there. Join us. And again, you get a lot of breaking news from people. Just some people get up earlier. People stay up late. Some late birds here. And they're bringing you around the clock news that's happening. And again, Weston, thanks for breaking the Tavondre Sweat news to us early in the morning. Again, guys are fantastic there. And we learned who Gamble is. It's Trey Williams.
Trey, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Hell
buddy.
yeah. Absolutely.
All right, guys. So next time, we are going to talking about the draft. We are going to be live. We're going to trying to coordinate it, Jake, where we're live. This channel is live the whole first round. You don't want to miss any opportunity. Bills, we've been talking about the Bills moving up, maybe up to 17. So we got to go live pretty early. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We'll rotate people in.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't join us. Maybe I can't join us right at the start, but we got other people on this channel that can keep it going. And then obviously we'll go through the whole first round. It'll be great. We'll have some Chiefs people on there, some Ravens people, some Bills people, you name it. It's gonna be a blast, and I can't wait. So,
Sounds
buddy,
fun,
thank you. People in the channel, if you're new, please like, comment, drop a nickel on that subscribe button, and please at least hit the like. And if you don't like what we're bringing you, hit the down arrow. It's okay.
Yeah, give us some constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Gotta do it.
All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good one.
Go Bills.
And go Bills.